Good morning, everyone. It's Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy with the Nautilus Dry Docks, and I am here in beautiful Spring, Texas with...
Jason's here.
There we go. I got him right. And this is our weekly update video. If you've not joined us before, we're just going to show you what we do here at the Dry Docks, which is mostly building RC submarines. We're going to kick the week off. Thanks for joining. So we got lots going on. It's 10 o'clock in the morning on Monday, and we've been busy already. We've run to storage. We grabbed a whole bunch of radios we got to ship out. We packed up that little X-Craft, that 1/24 X-Craft that was sitting over here. And now we're continuing to bag things up, box things up. We got a 12th scale X-Craft that's going to our buddy Stacy up in Colorado. So we're just bundling up all parts, making sure everything's good. He got a good deal on this. These are out of production. They're no longer available. Full fiberglass kit, beautiful details. And this has a ton of reference material on how these boats were put together. I think Stacey's going to have a good time making this all happen. So we're going to box all that up, and then we got a couple more orders to box up. We're gonna have to see how far we can make it. We may just be doing a Boxing Day today, a pre-Christmas Boxing Day for all of these boats.
The Silent Monday Boxing Day.
Yes, because we got that one done, and we sold a couple more in here. The 23 is going overseas, and the Typhoon has a deposit down on it. That'll be shipping out next month because he's doing a two-paymenter deal. So lots going on. We just need to box this up today and get this out here. And then once that's all done tomorrow, we can hit the ground running and actually build some submarines. Well, it's now Tuesday morning, and as I suspected, not a lot of exciting stuff got done yesterday other than stuffing a bunch of things into boxes. In typical fashion, UPS never came to collect them yesterday, so hopefully they come today. This is a lot of work to get boxed up. All these big boxes are like subs, and each one of those probably takes me a good 45 minutes, even with help. It's a lot of stuff to do. But it's all necessary. Got to make sure people get their stuff safely. Gonna start work on the Balao this morning, but a little departure first. So if you guys saw my newsletter, you'll have seen that I just released a teaser of the new upgrade for the 48-inch Disney Nautilus package. I just wanted to share the kind of thing I got here. Now, I sourced irises. These are actually optical irises. I got these from overseas, and I used to source these domestically in America, but like each one of these was like $150. And I got these for substantially cheaper. I finally found a good supplier for them. Ordered a couple of different sizes. The proper size is over there, sitting in the hull, and I'm going to be working up a retraction mechanism for it. This is another set I got to check fitment. A little too big. So wanted to just kind of show you what these look like. You got an outer ring. In this particular case, it's 80 mil diameter with a 60 mil inside diameter. And then there's just an arm that opens and closes. Now, there's really two different kinds of irises. There's a standard iris, which doesn't close all the way. It can't, because these are overlapping plates. And then there's a zero aperture iris. And those look different. It's kind of like a clamshell close, but they completely seal off the light. And I've installed both of those in the past. But the reason I'm bringing these up is I got two of these. 60 mil outer, 60 mil inner, 80 mil outer. And these would look super cool in a Nautilus model. They might fit in a CR66. With a lot of work, you could probably make them work in one of my 48-inch kits. I'll let these go super cheap, say like $60 a piece. I've got two of them. If you want them, hit me up. Okay, I want to finish up the Balao because we got this weekend coming up an RC submarine event here in the Woodlands. I should have mentioned this. It was in my newsletter, but if any of you are in Texas, around the Houston area, or even, Dallas, Austin, if you're up for a little bit of a drive. It is this weekend from 8 a.m. till 12 p.m. here in the Woodlands at Taylor Pond. If you need more information, hit me up. I can probably put a page up on my website, because this is going to be a regular ongoing deal, probably every 2 months, something like that. So we're going to have a ton of fun. But I want to get this thing ready to go for lake testing. So basically all the functionality is done. The trimming should be done. Final cosmetics are what I need to do here right now. And then I may do just one final trim test in the pool. I don't know. Maybe we'll just wing it. I don't know. My challenge is, this is supposed to be the archer fish, and I've got actual photo documentation of archer fish. I'm trying to figure out the rigging situation. We got some that goes from the forward part of the conning tower to a forward mast up on the bow. And then I've also got pictures that show an antenna line running from the top of this guy back over here. But the frustrating thing is, all of these boats, the different variations of Gato and Balao, every one was different. All the boats were different. No two were alike, and there was like multiple configurations of them throughout the course of the year, of the war, sorry. So it's really fun, trying to figure out what you're going to end up modeling it as. Fortunately, Joseph, the gentleman who's contracted me to build this, he's not a rivet counter. He just wants a boat representative of the archer fish. It's really important to him from a family history perspective. And the details don't matter. He just wants to have a really cool Balao boat that we could call archer fish. So we're going to do the best that we can in that. But for you guys who are trying to be nitpicky-ish, my recommendation is to zero in on a boat at a very specific time, find the reference photos, and just go off of that. Otherwise, you'll be chasing your tail around and around and around. No doubt you're going to get people saying, that's wrong, those boats didn't have those at that time, or whatever. Get your picture, stick by it, have fun, build your boat however you want it. Make it look cool so that you have fun running it at the pond. Let's talk about what we're going to be using for some rigging. My weapon of choice is this stuff here. It's called Stretch Magic. And usually this is used for like bracelets for little kids for craft time. Comes in white or kind of clear and black. And they come in different thicknesses. I think this is 0.8 millimeter and this is 1 millimeter. So it depends on the scale of boat you're using. But what I like about this is super tough. And most importantly, stretchy. So a lot of times I'll see people and they've like rigged up stainless steel cable, that goes to the back. Not ideal. It may look good when you first, attach it, but over time it's going to sag or it gets kinky. You get kinky wires, and then it looks really stupid and non-scale. The advantage to this, you can stretch it across, put some tension on it, and it will always remain taut, which is obviously what you would want to see in a submarine. You don't want a floppy cable dragging behind your boat. So what I need to do now is build up my little masts for the cabling, and then we're going to go ahead and attach some of this stuff. Jason's here.
Hello.
Logan is sick today. He might have got my stomach bug from a couple weeks ago, if you guys remember. We have a cylinder that's come back, and this is the third time. Let's take a look and see what's going on. All right, what is the story? Why is this back here?
Okay, he had issue, his pump. He couldn't figure out why his pump wasn't working. Apparently there was something wrong with the 2IS, maybe a crossed wire or something. I'm not sure.
And I just want to stop and pause. This, you guys have seen this before. We did a video of this fully operational,
completely working
on the workbench. So it was fully working. It went off. Some things happened to it. The pump stopped working. We just diagnosed it. Pump is perfectly fine. Pump itself is perfectly fine.
Yes. Yeah, pump works fine. So we just replaced
the 2IS wasn't.
Pump works and everything. We can get a little video of that later. But the client replaced a 12 amp speed controller with a 30 amp
This is good.
which is fine. Yeah, they both work. This one just has a bigger fuse and more power, right? So they used these heat shrink. I don't know if we have any available here. So we use these little heat shrink solder infused
solder joint
shrink
connectors. Yeah.
Right. So what you do is you put your 2 wires in there. You heat it up until the little centerpiece, which is the solder, melts the 2 ends, and then you have strong connection. This is not melted on any of these.
It's what would typically be considered
A
dry solder.
So I bet I could, I could just pull these and they come right apart. So when you guys heat these up, you need to make sure that you heat the center up very gently so it don't melt and burn, but it'll melt and combine the 2 wires till it's one solid. Like you have to cut this.
You'll see it. This will liquefy and it'll flow.
And it only takes a few seconds. You don't need direct, but just enough heat gun or a little torch. But this is what it's supposed to look like. Right here. You get the little waterproofing colors on both ends, which goes around the wires. And this literally, I would have to cut this to get this off. Where these, see how that just pops right off.
Every single one
single one of them is a dry solder. So all of this needs to be liquefied, and you'll see, and it'll flow both ways.
So you get to redo 5 joints. Yeah. That's fine. We'll get it. We'll get it.
Which could be, error on the person maybe not knowing that that's how these work, but this is how they work. So power on radio.
Welcome to Evos. Switch warning. Hot warning.
None of that means anything. Just hit your little button there. Magnet. Little heat shrinky guy here.
VFR low warning.
Here, everything, the speed controller kick in. So we got throttle. We got this guy.
Rudder.
This back guy. Then the torpedo. Let's see which one.
It'll be on the slider, yeah.
Ballast. Sucking air. And then let me fill that in real quick.
And while Jason does this, I want to make a little observation here. So we're putting compressed air in there right now. At what pressure?
Looks like 3.5 pounds.
No, 3.5. That's bar. 50 pounds.
50 pounds. Sorry.
50 pounds of pressure.
Then it's on the back slider. If you listen very carefully, the pump is running and it blows when you go full on.
Yep, little hiss.
So the pump is running, but has not blown the emergency because I haven't gone all the way up. Now if you go all the way up,
there you go.
You can hear the little hiss of it pushing the air in and your emergency backup working.
So the reason I pointed that out is because we just put 50 pounds of pressure in this pressure vessel here. That's just air, compressed air. When you fill it properly with the liquid gas, the tetrafluorethene from the airbrush propellant or the duster cans, instead of half a second of blow, you'll get maybe 15 seconds of blow, which is the difference between burping a quarter of your tank and probably 4 full tanks.
Yeah, within a second.
So that's just the difference. A lot of people are like, oh, I'll just use compressed air. It'll be so much Well, you can, but you're not going to blow.
Yeah, you get 1.
Yeah, it won't blow very much air.
And then same thing, just in reverse. You won't really hear nothing until
Telemetry lost.
There you
the
go.
radio tells you, and then you turn your radio off. And everything's good to go.
And just a little note, just a
Clean up some wires.
PSA, clean up the wires. Make sure none of them are rubbing on that motor. You want to make sure those are pulled away, tucked away, so they don't get a hole rubbed in them.
But everything works.
Everything works. Yay! Everything works again. And here's the rigging. Everything is done. This is all glued in place. We got our guitar strings going on here. And this I actually used the clear because I ran out of the black. And I just put a little paint on it. It looks really good. And actually, it looks a little more weathered than just the black, shiny stuff. But that's it. I think we're ready for function and wet testing. Okay, now that Balao is basically done until a little bit later in the week, we'll drop it in the pond. You know, I'm actually thinking on Friday when Ed comes out, we'll drop this in the pool, and we'll also drop my big Nautilus. Because I have not yet tested the super duper awesome extensions on the back of the boat to control pitch, because this had absolutely zero pitch control afterwards. Completely functional. Completely functional. I haven't had it out since I got it back up in Groton. So maybe on Friday we'll play around with this a little bit. Maybe throw some lights in. But anyhow, we are now on to Virginia once again. So a couple of things. I got Jason working on fine tuning of the hull under here. All doing all the hand sanding. Logan did, the machine sanding. But now we're just going to get in the nitty grittiest of them.
This is the fun stuff. I actually enjoy doing this.
Yeah, it transformed the boat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The tricky part here, because of the supports, is around these edges. It's a little kind of chewed up a little bit.
I got you.
And I think, even though there are photo etch parts to go in here, I'm not going to put them in. And the reason is it closes off the flow to flood and vent or flood and drain the boat by quite a bit. You'll never see it, and if it scoops up like mud and weeds and that kind of stuff, it can actually get blocked off. So I'm going to keep these open. That's a choice. It's not because I'm lazy. It's not only because I'm lazy. But these are great, full-sized, full-length drain holes for the boat. So we're going to leave those open. And maybe actually what I'll do, I'll get you to do the upper hull, just tweak the upper hull a little bit, and then while you work on this, I'll do the photo etch on the upper hull. And speaking of photo etchicals, this is what you get when you get this kit. Now, a couple things. If you print the boat, the sail with the files that come with it, this is what you would get. And this is fine. It's pretty good. Looks good. But if you get the optional resin upgrade, then this is what you get. And obviously they're the same size and everything, and you'll get the same level of detail, with the photo etched parts. But this resin one has all of the parts already done. It's like so much less work, right down to the mesh inside the bridge area there. So that's really cool. And I think, too, what I'm going to do, and again, not because I'm lazy, but I'm going to leave these doors closed. The new owner can elect to open them and install periscopes if he so chooses. But because this is an OTW cylinder, there's no need to scavenge air from the surface, so we don't actually have to have periscopes. So we're going to leave them alone. We just got to clean this up, tap these for some bolts, and then this will just bolt right onto the upper hull like that. And this chart shows you the photo etch sheet that you get, what all the parts are named, and where they go on the boat. Another thing to note, optional ASDS in 1/72 scale, which looks like this. This is actually pretty substantial. That's about 8 inches long. If you were a masochist, you could probably RC this and have it attach and detach from the boat. That'd be pretty slick. You can do it magnetic, just get kind of close and it will knock down. That'd be pretty awesome. Here's the decals and the photo etch. So looking forward to getting that done. I'm gonna grab the upper hull here and let Jason chomp on this for a few minutes, and then we'll glue some photo etch on. All right, these have been drilled and tapped for M4 stainless hardware. But I'm not going to install this yet. I'm just going to thread these, put it aside, do all the photo etch and everything, so there's less chance of this getting bumped and broken and badness things. All right, Jason's finished up with the upper hull. This is looking and feeling really good. I'm going to go ahead and start applying some of the photo etch. Now, this is the front side with all the details and rivets and all this cool stuff. And this is the back side, and I'm taking some medium grit sandpaper, 220 grit, and I'm sanding the whole back side. This is much, much easier to do when they're all pinned down to the actual photo etch sheet. So I'm going to rough this up as much as I can, get it nice and coarse. And what that's going to allow us to do is glue it to the upper hull and the other parts of the hull with some rubber reinforced cyanoacrylate, so it's got some give to it, and it'll allow much better purchase of these parts, because these do tend to pop off if you don't adhere them properly, if you don't rough them up. And a lot of people like to use thin cyanoacrylate, which is very brittle. So I'm going to use medium rubber reinforced, and let's start putting this stuff on. All right, we are doing some rear control surfaces. So a lot of sandy, grindy, getting them to fit nice and loose in there is the idea. But still nice tolerances. It looks like this is actually set up for like a 330 seconds. Well, no, this is probably metric, but 330 seconds will work. We'll be hogging that out to 330 seconds. So a 330 seconds rod sleeves nicely into a 1/8 inch brass tube. So what we've done is we've drilled out all of these holes to 1/8 of an inch. And now the secret sauce, which hopefully is going to work, because this is not something we're doing, we're going to zip it in with the drill. You just see how it passes right through all those. And now we want this to go in about 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch maybe.
Can you see it inside?
I can. Yep. Go. And stop. Now what we're going to do, we're going to stop here. We're going to buck this off with our cutoff wheel. And then we can pull this back and just put one in here. We don't need support in here. That's way overkill, and it'll just provide opportunity for more binding. So we want just 2 points, one here and one here. So we're going to cut this, slip it back, and then cut and all that fun stuff. So what we got going on here now, we got our bushing here, and then we've got our 330 second control rod for the appendage in there. Now it turns, I can turn it, but it's not super smooth, and we want super smooth, which means this is just a tiny bit out of alignment. So what we're going to do, we're going to put the flame on our torch super low, and we're going to hit it from the bottom and just warm this shaft up, and it's going to transfer that heat into the bushing. The bushing is going to soften the plastic, and it's just going to relax. At least that's the theory. Either that or we'll catch the whole thing on fire. So we got this heat that worked like a charm, by the way. Now see, it's like super loose and really easy to move. It just relaxed the plastic a little bit. That's all we wanted to do. And then what he did, I went ahead and did put some glue on the inside of the bushing. You can see it sticking in. Can you? Focus. There you go. Got a little glue in there, and that's going to lock that bushing in place so it doesn't move. And now we're drilling out the control surface for 330 seconds. We'll get it in place, and then we'll just check our swiveling action. All right, I think we've figured out a little shortcoming in the kit. I want you guys to take a look at this and look at that movement. You see this bulb of dive plane that's sticking up right now? And then when it goes down, there's like a big depression. The way that these are designed, I'm going to get my cameraman to help me out. Stabilizer, and this is the front part of your dive plane, right? It's supposed to swivel in there like this, kind of like a ball socket. And in order for that to work, the fulcrum, the center point, needs to be right where the middle of my fingers are. That's the swivel point, right? Where these dive planes are actually designed, when you look at them, that swivel point is supposed to be here, but it's back about 1/8 of an inch. So now when this is moving through its arc, the dive plane is potentially hitting the stabilizer. So it's not a massive deal, but we're just going to go ahead, grab the file, clean it up a little bit. It's moving okay right now, but we're after perfection here, people. Finally, success. Perfect, nice, easy movement in here. You'll notice we painted this black, and this was actually Jason's idea. I've seen Merriman do it too. So you paint the dive plane black, throw it in, move it, and then when you pull it out, you'll see rub marks. And so we determined that the leading face down the whole thing needed to be ground down. And then also when we pulled this out, we discovered that these back faces here were rubbing.
You can show that right there.
Yeah, you got a little paint out where it was before. So now, after 40 minutes, all we need to do is do that again. Yeah.
No big thing.
Fortunately, the rudders are going to be much easier because they just stick out the top. Okay, we are wrapped up for today, but we got some really good progress on Virginia. We repaired that cylinder. We got our Gato going, got orders shipped out. I'm pretty stoked. It was a good day. So, good start on the photo etch. Most of what I want to have gotten done on this is done. There's a gajillion little tiny greeblies and stuff like that. I just, in my experience, brushing the boat will knock some of these off, these little tiny ones. So I don't know that I'm going to go ahead and install those or not. We'll see how ambitious I feel tomorrow. But these are all glued on with the rubber reinforced cyanoacrylate. It's looking really good. Once we prime this, it's going to look pretty badass. And the stern of our boat is looking good. We got the second set of dive planes all done. These are super free moving. What I am going to do, because I ran into an issue with these yokes. These are set up for huge shafts, like 5/32 or something like that. Like 4 mil, I think, probably. I'm going to redo these files. I'm going to grab them and make a super big beefy cylinder in here, set for 3/32 that I can drill and tap for a nice big fat and meaty stainless set screw. So that's what I'm going to do here right away. It is Wednesday morning, and Logan's going to be coming in a little bit later. He's still not feeling 100%. We'll see how he does. Jason will be in here a little bit, but I've been picking at Virginia. So I think for the most part, all of the photo etch that I want to put on the upper deck is on the upper deck at this time. I am not going to go crazy. There's a million little pieces in here, and I'm just not going to put them on. That's my choice. One thing I noticed, though, I was going to put the sail on. I want you to look here. Look at how these holes match up. Uh-oh. Kind of weird, you know? Obviously didn't change anything. The sail looks to be the correct size. So it's not like anything happened there. This came direct from Auto. So I'm going to move this hole back a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead, mark it out, drill a new hole. Just wanted to point it out. You're going to need to drill a hole. These are incorrect in the files. Weird. This is a little bit of a bugger, guys, because the hole ended up like a half a drill bit into this one. So now we ended up with this big, nasty mess. It would work fine because I've got, big washers on here. But in order to make sure that we get perfect alignment every time you put the sail on and take it off, I want to make this hole more perfect-er. So this is how we're going to do it. So I've got I put some tape on the back and I filled this with baking soda. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a 5/32 brass rod, which is the correct diameter for our holes here for the M4 threads I'm using. Get this perfectly centered, push it down, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit that with some thin cyanoacrylate. And it's going to kick off all that baking soda, make it into concrete. And then once it's set, pop this out. And then drill it through the rest of the way if I need to, and just clean it up. It should look really good. There we go. Easy as that. Perfect hole. Really, really hard material that's perfectly fused to your main hull. And I just used a little sandpaper and a block, sanded it perfectly flush, and now, in theory, if I drill the hole in the right spot, which it looks like I did, pretty close, should be able to put this on. Let's give it a try. Perfeccione! It lined up perfectly. It's like I know what I'm doing or something. Look at that. This bad boy needs some primer. And, yeah, we can probably bring it out. This looks like a little rainy outside, a little drizzly a little later on. So maybe it'd be a good idea to do it now. I also want you to notice I went over with some very fine grit sandpaper and just sanded the faces of this. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use etching primer, self-etching primer. It's different than normal primer. It's a little green, but it likes biting into this brass, and that'll stop it from chipping, which is very, very prone to do. One of the drawbacks of brass photo etch. So let's shoot a little color on this thing and see what it looks like. Jason's here.
Hey,
He's going to continue work on Virginia. Oh, wait, I got to show you how the top turned out. Hold on. Look at that. Nice. So again, this is etching primer. You can get this at your local home improvement store. And you can see it doesn't rub off the brass parts, which is nice. Those really snap up the details of the boat. Looks really good. Do need to drill vents, and I think we'll use the vents on the boat as the air vents for the hull. Now there are spots, you know, obviously here and here, but you know, a couple more are definitely not a bad idea. But this is turning out really good. This is pretty well done here. And Jason,
I'm making some click-ons, doing the linkages for this.
yeah, we're doing the forward linkages.
So we're gonna get that in there so we can go and be good to go.
Yeah, all magnetic, no mechanical fasteners. And in the meantime, I am going to be making some ladder rungs for a 77th scale Disney Nautilus. Now, it's a little crazy that someone's paying me to do this, but he didn't have access or wasn't able to buy quickly enough my little ladder rung bender. So I'm going to knock out all of the ladder rungs, and he just decided to be worthwhile paying for it. So that's what I'm going to work on in the next few minutes. And once we're done, we're going to hit the stern of the Virginia, get the control surfaces all done. All right, we need to program this electronic pitch controller for the customer, and for the many-th time, we're going to show it on the video for you. The procedure. So the battery is unplugged, the radio is on. What you're going to do is you're going to press and hold the setup button on the side of the pitch controller. Okay. And then connect power.
Telemetry recovered.
You keep holding it.
No warning.
To flash.
All right. You get a double flash. Now we're in programming mode. First step. There's 4 steps you need to do. First step. Neutral on the radio. Press and hold until you get the button or the light. Yep, solid button. There we go. Now we can.
We're at 3 blinks.
Now we command full rise on the planes, and we know that needs to pull inward. Oh, we can't figure that out in the up. Okay, I think we're good to go. Press now.
Okay.
All right, and now the trickiest part.
Now we're at 4 blinks.
We take the entire cylinder and we point it up vertically with the nose of it pointing up towards the ceiling. Nose. And it has to be perfectly vertical, and then you press and hold.
Okay.
Okay, so now that this is being programmed, you can see as it moves, the stern linkage is moving. And in this particular case, in talking with the customer, if the nose goes down, the linkage needs to pull, the dive plane goes into the rise position, and you would come back up. Couple of things to note now that you're in just like normal operation mode. If you press and hold, you can cycle through the sensitivity. So let's watch this button. Press and hold and release. And it was a single flash. This is the least sensitive. You can see you got to move it quite a bit in order for the linkage to move. If we press and hold, 1, 2, 3. Now this is the most sensitive. It's like super hypersensitive. I like putting it on 2. 1, 2 flashes. And when all you do is you press and hold for like a second and then release, and it'll flash either 1, 2, or 3 red flashes. Now the next thing that you need to do, we know that this is going to be perfectly level when it's installed in the boat. So you just tap the setup button, and that sets your 0 bubble. There. So now it knows that this is level, and you're good to go. That's it. It's not that bad. It's a pain, but it's not that bad. We are out at the top secret test facility, and it's raining. Time to test the cylinder. So we've already leak tested it. It's perfect for leaks. We're just going to do a quick function test for the ballast system. So now you got water in the tank, right? Do you want to do the emergency burst just so that we can wait? Let's make sure. Okay, there we go. There we go. Yep, there's a big burp that just burped out of the.
And we're using compressed air, not gas.
So it just had a half a second burp, but you saw it erupt out of the back there. So now, maybe go the other way. Go to vent. There you go. Bubbles coming out. Ballast tank is filling with water. Blub, 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 blub.
And full.
Yep.
I'll go the other way.
There we go. See the big air bubble getting bigger and bigger.
And then sucking air.
So there you go. Yeah, it's about 2/3 right now. Pumping, pumping, pumping. So, yeah, well, that's cold water.
Yeah. It takes a minute.
It works. All right, progressives on the control surfaces for our Virginia model. I've drilled and tapped stainless set screws, and 2 of them, so we get double grippage. Now we need to put our control surfaces in place, run the shaft in, and then we're going to leave it loose and attach all our yokes and everything, and then and only then will we tighten down the control surfaces. All sorts of excitement going on. The FedEx guy is right there. Just dropped off a box for us. We're going to unpack it here in a second. Got some cool stuff in there. But I want to show you what we did with the linkages. So you can see we've got rudderage. And we've got dive planeage. Now we did things a little differently. I elected not to use the yoke. Now you can see what I did is I just used 2 horns. You can't see that. What am I talking about? Well, maybe you can. Well, yeah, that's the old one. We did not use that. And then the other, where's the other one that we? Oh, so this is what we used, top and bottom, and it just eliminated any potential conflicts of the vertical and horizontal yokes. We just made it easier for us. So we combined the top and the bottom. You can adjust their synchronicity with that set screw. And now all we need to do is connect it magnetically to these outputs, one for the dive planes, one for the rudder. Look how perfectly those line up. So perfect. This is going to work really good. And I just want to remind you guys about the super cool. Now you notice the really tiny lower rudder, right? So if you're surfaced, that's the only thing turning this huge boat, and it's fighting against these dihedrals that are sticking out, which are acting like the flights of an arrow to keep the boat going straight. So you have virtually no turning performance. But I made an oversized rudder, and it just slips on like this, and it clips on magnetically. Now look at the size of that sucker. Oh yeah, that should make a huge difference. So that's stuck on magnetically. You can pop it off if you want to have it on display. I think it's going to work really good. We're just going to rig up the last of that, and then, man, we're getting close to like trimming this thing out. All right, here's our box. Let's get this thing opened up. We're getting there. We're getting there. Any guesses of what we got? I don't remember if I told you guys or not. But I don't. You can see a little bit of a stern. What's your guess? Put it down below. Before we unpack it, what's your guess? There's two boats. They're both Russian. They're both roughly 96 scale. Getting closer. Come on now. You gotta be able to figure it out. All right, here we go. Boat 1 of 2. It's Dusty. Scale ships Akula in 196 scale. These are like museum quality kits put out by Vladimir out of Belarus. Out of production now. Can't buy them. So if you ever come across a Scale Ships Akula kit, I would be all over it. What a gorgeous boat. Oh my gosh. Look at the different, finishes of paint, semi-gloss to flat to indicate, the escape trunk. We got really cool periscopes and everything. I gotta wait. I got a bunch of stuff to do today. I'm not gonna open it up because that's gonna be opening a can of worms. We're gonna do that.
I think they retract.
We're gonna be this in the morning.
Or extend.
Yeah, Jason thinks that the periscopes work. Oh, look.
Told you.
Cool.
Same thing with this one.
So cool. And Engel Typhoon. Master scale with all the anechoic tiles.
It's on a belt drive. It's cool.
This is like fresh from the dry dock kind of look going on here.
Looks like it just came out of
Yep.
factory.
Yep. Beautiful. Again, I'm not going to open it up yet. I had like 1 or 2 pictures from the seller when I bought these, but they're so cool.
That is nice.
Did a nice job putting that together.
Yeah.
From what I can see so far. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, no dings, no scratches.
Okay, well, we are going to wrap it up here for today. But look at Virginia. Look at Virginia. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Look at with the SDS parked on the back there. This is going to cut a pretty cool silhouette when you get this thing in the water. We'll just make this magnetic. It'll just lock right down on there. You can take it off if you want to. Nice.
Make a nice wake with the tower and the
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm excited. Look at all the epicness we got on the bench right now.
sneak peek.
You're spoiling it. Holy crap. Look at the thickness of that. It's a 1/2 inch thick polycarbonate.
And that's all you get.
Oh.
Till tomorrow.
So it is Thursday, and hey, Logan's back. He's behind the camera right now. You just can't see him. Got to start the day out by checking out the 2 new subs that we got. Again, I've only had a couple of pictures. I don't really know what we've got here. We got radios and we got boats. So the idea is we're going to open them up, take a look, fire them up, and see if they work. So let's get started here. 1/100th Engel Typhoon, master scale. There is no hold down that Jason and I could find. And I emailed the previous owner, and he had no idea either. We think this boat never really got into like operational condition, and we were thinking maybe they were going to put a magnet in the front here or something. There's a flange. I don't know. But what do we got here? We got charger for a transmitter. Okay, that's good. We got an extra bunch of wire and an extra pressure switch. We've got an electronic speed controller, and we got an extra T-Max 2 board. Hopefully this doesn't belong in the boat. Some really, really weak magnets. Okay. A washer, and then a whole bunch of loose BBs in here. Just rolling around in the bottom. That's kind of exciting. So the bow thruster is connected through this waterproof switch. Looks like the motor might be waterproof. I've never really seen one of these before. It's a brushed motor. Interesting. These, I don't know what that's all about. I think there was supposed to be like a big lead weight in there. I'll bet you he took it out for shipping. Oh, hey, hey, hey. And some more bellows. And a bunch of stick-on weights. That's good. You can never have too many stick-on weights. Overall, the build quality looks to be really high. You know, for example, these reactor scoops aren't just glued on. They are bolted on the inside there, which is really good. This moves, this moves. This feels a little stiff, but I don't know if that's just because of like the motors or what the deal is there. All right, I'm not going to screw around with this too much. You want to let the servos do the talking there. So let's pop this thing open. We're going to take off a gajillion wing nuts and get access to the interior. But before we do that, take a look at this. This is like 3/8 of an inch thick polycarbonate. Holy hell. And then like this hardware is incredibly oversized, like incredibly oversized. It's crazy. It's got really nice routing for the low frequency antenna going around. You know, it's just a typically, you know, nice, thoughtful attention to detail, which is always promising when you're dealing with boats like this. So let's do a couple of things. We're going to pull all these lead BBs out, and then we're going to crack into here and see what we're working with. So we got into it. That wasn't too bad at all. Here's that monster door we were talking about. Doesn't look like the periscopes were ever hooked up. So this, I have a hunch this boat was built like 90% of the way and never finished. Although it's got dirt in it. So maybe it was running at one time. But at any rate, this is not hooked up. The limit switches are not hooked up. But the actual assembly is here. This is all done really well. It's got really nice foam seals in here. All the bolts or the studs are epoxied in. So this is looking good so far. Taking a look inside, you got your bow retract motor with the limit switches, forward diplane servo, and then we've got a voltage monitor, a current draw monitor. This is kind of like that What's Up that you guys have seen me run before. We should jam these cables behind it. Watt meter. There we go. On-off switch. And then there's the main receiver and then a decoder for the radio, which is, I believe it's a Futaba F16? Mm-hmm. FC16. Monster unit with a huge freaking stand gripper thing. That's substantial. Other thing to note in here, it looks like we've got standard Engel drive systems for the piston tanks, but whoever owned it decided that the stock capacity wasn't what they wanted. So they wanted some more, and it looks like they extended the ballast tanks by about 2.5 inches, maybe 3 inches, with clear tube. And the neat thing about that, obviously, is you can actually see the whole cycle. It's not some magic going on behind some black plastic. We got a fuse bank in here, a battery eliminator to power the receivers and the decoder, a T-Max dive controller, like I said, the main receiver, the servos for rear dive planes and rudders, and then twin electronic speed controllers, which leads me to believe that very likely this is a differential thrust boat. Well, they're going to take advantage of the twin sticks on the radio over there. These motors look super beefy too. These are not the typical motors that you would see in an Engel boat. So I think what we decided we're going to do, we're going to throw some power on this and see what, if anything, is actually working right now. check all the different functions. I think we need to charge the battery first, right?
Yeah, the receiver radio battery's dead.
So we're going to need to do that first. I just noticed something. What is this?
Stuck down there too.
This is a white plastic tube. It goes to the dry compartment and it just opens into the wet area. What the heck? What would that be for?
Maybe
Drop
running lights or something. Maybe.
drop your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think this tube right here could possibly be for?
Oh, it's for the screw? The screw to go out.
Oh.
That's what it is. Right?
No.
No?
It goes that way.
Oh.
Good thought, though. Good thought. Maybe initially he thought he was going to have the tanks oriented the other way and have the leads go out in that direction. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, who knows? We'll have to see. So we're going to wait a couple minutes, get this thing charged up. But in the meantime, I guess we better go take a look at the Akula. All right, we are delving into the scale ships Akula, and these, like I said, they're just beautiful boats. Like, look at the layup in there. Do you notice that we've got rigged up 4 dive planes? But it doesn't look like they were hooked up inside. So let's take a closer look here. Now, this was a scratch-built, I'm going to use the term cylinder loosely because it's like half a cylinder. Kind of a dry hull boat idea. We do have a forward output for 4 dive planes, but it doesn't look like these were ever hooked up. We have a pump intake and output. What is this? I wonder if this is an air pump. I wonder why this is so long. That's interesting to me. We'll have to figure that out. Actually, the other thing I want to take a look at, how does these periscopes work? Oh, that's on a float. So that's foam. Oh, okay, this is the pump intake. I think the idea is this gets attached to this. Like this. I think. Yeah, and this got glued up here. That got broken, and this just moves up and down. Okay, all right, interesting. Let's take a look at this thing here. Now, quick overview. We got a forward servo right here. We've got our pump. That looks a lot like a water pump to me, guys. I don't know. Interesting. Ballast system. Ballast tank. That's all closed up. We got our receiver in here, which only looks to be 4-channel. Which means you would not have independent control of 4 dive planes and stern dive planes. That is what it is. Electronic speed controller, a big, nice, beefy motor right there. And then we got our outputs. These feel new. They're really pliable and soft. They are not sealed very well to these output shafts. I don't think these are the correct size. And then we got our shaft here. I am not impressed based on what I'm seeing here right now. But let's power it up and let's just see what happens. I'm just curious. Power, the radio is on. Okay, well, I got rudder. We got dive planes. Oh, that's actually nice and smooth. That's pretty good.
Nice airflow.
The channels are all backwards on this. You pull backwards to go forwards and all sorts of weirdness like that. Forward servo we can't check. And that's your pump control. So, I mean, it works. It works. It looks like this is completely removable, by the way. There's a hold-down bolt on the side here, and then 2 on the back. So I think this entire thing just lifts out.
Oh, that's probably what the foam is for spacing.
I would not be surprised if they use this foam for flotation, honestly, based on the quality of work that I'm seeing here right now. My thought for a boat this beautiful, this is probably not a good idea. I don't like it at all. I would throw an 80 mil cylinder in here and be done with it. A little more disappointing than that one over there, but regardless, the hull itself is absolutely worth it. The quality of the build of the hull itself is really, really good. I would not be surprised if whoever did the hull is a different person than who did this cylinder thing. All right, here's the gutted boat. This was set up, I'm almost willing to bet, for a 3.5-inch OTW cylinder. The pockets here, or maybe even a 4-inch, probably a 4-inch based on the spacing. These pockets look like they're set up exactly for that. You know, I have an OTW cylinder at the storage.
We gotta go run over there, take that other case over there. So.
Yeah.
Test it.
This boat is too nice for that abortion of a cylinder that was in here. 2 feet?
Yeah, a little less. Half an inch less, yeah.
And if we need to, we can adjust the placement of these bulkheads a little bit, I think. But yeah, this is just too nice of a boat to put that nasty cylinder in. We're going to get a nice one. Boy, that fitment's nice too. It's just...
It's a nice razor line.
Yeah, that fitment is beautiful. All right. Well, we got a plan. We will go run to storage and see what we got to play with in this thing. Okay, we are back from storage. Logan managed to extract a bunch of goodies from the old cylinder. That could probably just go straight in the dumpster, I think. Let me take a closer look here.
Pull that motor.
I've been trying to pull that motor.
Yeah, it's fused. I think he glued it in. But flip it over. Is this actually like a pipe? The bottom. No. It looks like it was some sort of molded fiberglass enclosure. We're not using it. I don't want it. It's going in the trash can, which is good because it's trash day today. So if you want to get rid of that, and then what all did we manage to extract from there? A couple speed controllers. These look like they're waterproof. They're all potted and everything.
And then I've got servo brackets, the actual servos. Couldn't quite get the last one because it actually broke free. But I got 2 of them. And I got the pump. That is the pump.
Yeah, well, that pump could be kind of cool. This is probably just a centrifugal pump. I don't think it's a gear motor. Well, geez, it might be.
Gonna have to clear off the rubber from this side, but other than that, I thought it wasn't that bad to extract.
Try it. Hook it up to some power and goof around. But in the meantime, it'll go in the spare parts bin.
One thing I will note with this, that's a kind of good thing for other people to note when they're building. There was a massive bunch of glue goobered on. I think this was epoxy or resin. Because of how much he added, some of it actually hadn't kicked off in the middle.
It was still wet?
Yeah, I was tugging and yanking on it, and I was wondering why some of it was still getting resistance. There's a big goober in the middle that hadn't kicked off yet that was like holding on with like a rubberized intensity.
So that's indicative of improper ratios of hardener to epoxy. So it wasn't properly mixed. Yeah. And then he probably mixed another batch, put it over top. Yeah. All right. Let's show you guys what we've got going on over here as the replacement. OTW, 4.25 inch, I think, roughly. This I've had in storage for like forever. Honestly, I keep forgetting about it, which is a little tragic. 7.5 inch tank. And so if we place this in the middle, we'll go like this. It leaves us this much room for the forward and aft compartments. And I did check, and the bolts line up perfectly with these slots. So this did indeed at one time have an OTW cylinder in it. This is not ideal, by the way, people. I think a 3.5 would be way, way, way better, because if you take a look at this, the surfaced water line is about here, which means that all of this tank up here is not doing anything. It's just forcing the ballast tank to lift its own weight out of the water. But is going to make for a really easy build and a high quality build, and there'll be a ton of flotation. And if we're lucky, the weight that's been added to the keel, all this lead sheet, was designed by the original person to be the correct amount to offset the buoyancy of the cylinder. What'd you think? You think? This is the big motor version too, designed for like the OTW upholder to spin a big 4-inch diameter prop, and we're going to be spinning a 2-inch prop instead. So this motor is not even going to break a sweat. But we need to do some modifications. We need to cut the length of these sections down, shorten the studs. But I think we got lots of room. I think this is going to be very doable. We're going to goof around with it a little bit this morning, see how far we can get, and then cut it. Maybe pick it up tomorrow when Ed comes. I don't know. We got lots. My brain is spinning. We got lots of scroll syndrome going on here right now. At any rate, I do want to see if we can get this cut down so that we can get the cylinder in it and then put it aside so we don't have loose parts laying all over my shop, because then I'll forget what goes to what and we'll lose them and it will be tragic. Let's zero in on where we left off here today, because I need to take off literally, because I'm going to go to the airport and start getting checked out on a new airplane that I'm looking to rent, because I've sold my airplane. I need to have options for flying. But let's take a look at the boats. So the radio for Typhoon is still charging. So we're gonna touch base on this first thing in the morning. And things are looking really, really good with the Akula here. We've got the revised tray going in here. We're going to be cutting this back a little bit, and then cutting that back a little bit, and then utilizing this. Jason went ahead and put new hardware in here. So we got all new, fresh components. That's where that is going to end up sitting. This is the forward compartment. It's going to sit just like that. So we got lots of room. It's looking good. So far, so good. I think maybe tomorrow we'll have this cylinder set up, at least to the point where we'll be able to lock it up, set it aside, put it over there until we have a chance to work on it. And then Logan got the linkages all done up. So basically these get mounted directly to these 1/8-inch shafts. The other side gets a 3/32 tube that slips over the 16th-inch shaft and locks down with some stainless hardware. Looking good. Got a lot done. One more thing I want to show you. These are prototype parts that I printed out on my printer for the new RC Sharks that I was telling you guys about. Redid the files. The face is a lot cleaner now, higher resolution, full water intake for the mouth. We set this up, or I set this up, so now we got orientation pins for gluing the head on. What I am working out right now is a way to make this removable. I got to figure that out, because I want to make it so that you could replace or repair the thrusters if something were to ever happen. So I don't know if that'll just be silicone his head on, and if you need to cut it off, or what the deal is, we'll get that figured out. The other big thing is the old Shark had closed fins, and that was just a file that I got to work with, and you had to cut and open them manually. Now, and this was a boatload of work, these are all opened with lots of flow through for the thruster. So this is just that section, just printing this out as a test to make sure that it's going to work, and it looks like it does. So now I got to finalize head mountingness, order the production version from my overseas supplier in the actual material that we're going to get. Overall length is just under 40 inches. So it's 8 inches shorter than the 4-footer, but is going to be vastly more economical to produce. So I'm really excited about this. It's Friday. We're back in the shop, and we hooked some power up to the Typhoon. So we got power. We're at about 6.7 volts, which means my battery's probably a little low because that's a 7.2 volt pack. But 6 volts should be what this system wants, so it should be very happy right now. There's some weirdness going on here. So we got rudderage. The upper rudder is in need of alignment. You can see it's off to the side there, all right? Lower one is good. Dive planes are good. So those are just on the back right now, and the lockout is working for the forward dive planes, which is good. So rudder and dive planes are good. The throttle is weird. It is on differential, so I got left and right, but sometimes it doesn't like going into reverse, and if I do both together, it works like forward, and then if I go the other way, the other one doesn't work. It's weird. I don't know what's going on there. And they're like the wrong direction. Forward goes backwards on the left side. So, I mean, all that's got to get reversed. I can't figure out how to turn on the ballast pumps. There's no switch. This is the bow retract here. And it worked to retract it, but now it won't extend it. And all of these switches don't seem to be doing anything. This is the bow thruster, which was working and now is not working. This is getting a new radio, is what I'm getting at. It'll do away with this whole decoder situation. I can throw a TDSR12 or a TDR12 in here, and that'll give us 12 channels, enough to run the boat. I forgot to mention, our event got canceled for tomorrow. The forecast was for drizzle in the morning and then rain from like 10 till noon. So nobody's going to have a good time out there. It's cold. It would be miserable. So we'll postpone, we'll reschedule. Ed's not coming anymore. I'm very, very sad and disappointed that he didn't come out anyway. It's fine. It's fine. All right, some other not so awesomeness. Looks pretty good, eh? That won't leak at all. I don't think you should paint these, by the way. I think it attacks the rubber, which is why this is all split and falling apart. That's not good. It looks like you use different seals than the Engel system. This is probably like a like a cup seal situation is what I'm hoping. So at least this works well. I'm happy with that. But this all needs to be disassembled. Now this one's going to be easy. Right here. Focus. I can disassemble it here and put a new seal here. This one though is like soldered on up there. So I'm going to have to disassemble it in here and pull it back through, which actually I can't even do because it's connected all the way up here. So I'm going to have to cut this and splice it or something. Put another one of these here, maybe, in order to replace that seal. That's not good. These are all... Nope, look at that. Oh, man. And that's going to be another exciting one to replace because, I mean, I guess it's feasible. I can back that all the way out, but you should always build things to be maintained, people. That is very, very important. So what we need to do here, replace these bellows, grab a radio, grab a receiver, swap them around, set it up, and see if we can make this thing start working properly. We've got the receiver swapped out and we're working on doing some thingamajiggers. So the bow retracts, it's interesting the way that this is set up. He's using an electronic speed controller as a pin to ground to extend and retract the plane. So you can see this goes up and then dives down into that jumper on the RMS or whatever the heck it's called unit. So we got it rigged up. We're going to try that and see if it works once we power everything up. But Jason is actually swapping out the electronic speed controllers that were in the boat, and this is why. The original electronic speed controllers that were in there had that stupid safety feature where you have to double tap to go in reverse. So if you did full throttle forward, one motor needs to spin forward, one needs to spin in reverse, and one would start and one wouldn't. You would have to double tap, and then the other one would. So it would make it just a nightmare to operate. We could have switched the wires around, and then you would have had to double tap to go into reverse. But then if you tried to use your differential steering, you would have to double tap one, but not the other one. It would have been a nightmare. So we're swapping them out. These are 20 amp electronic speed controllers, and they should be more than enough. Those motors shouldn't draw more than 3, I'm thinking, even at full tilt. So hopefully that's all going to work. And then we got to see if the ballast system will work, but one step at a time. In the meantime, let's check in on Logan and Virginia. All right. What you got actually a lot done on this. Maybe we should go look at the other side. All right. So what have you done on this crazy thing this morning?
I've installed the dog bone coupling as well as the
Reverse thrust bearing. Yep.
reverse thrust bearing, as well as the shroud. So the full thrust assembly is put together, and I had to reverse which servo was attached to the pitch controller because it was controlling the rudder, which was a little awkward.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're diving. Quick, turn left. While we're working away, I wanted to circle back to something that you guys haven't heard from me from about in a little while. I'm going to keep beating you over the head. Let's take a look. These are our new shirts from Jason, who offered graciously to redo for our original shirts. So we got the new redo logo for Subfest 24, and on the back, Hurricane Helene will not stop us. Revised date, April 30th to May 4th. Guys, hit up the website. If you're already registered, you're good. If you already registered for 2024, you're good. You don't need to worry about doing anything. You're already registered for the redo event. But there's lots of room. We can get more skippers. You will not find a better submarine event. I guarantee it. It's like 4 days of submarine awesomeness, seminars, demonstrations. 100 submarines are going to be there, like at least 30 skippers in an absolutely gorgeous environment. So absolutely head over to the website, get signed up. Don't wait, or those hotels are going to book up quick. While I messed around with that, boy, that looks like a mess. I don't even know how we're keeping our minds sane. Jason went ahead and redid our bellows seals and put in new couplers for all of our linkages, both back there and up here. So again, like I mentioned, there was no way to access this bellows for maintenance. So we were forced to cut it and put a coupler in here. It seems to be working really good. It looks good. It looks good. I think it'll work. So we're just waiting on the battery to charge up because the battery that we're using for the boat was completely and utterly dead, and the poor boat was like, I don't have enough juice to make everything work. So I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. And in the meantime, we are installing a remote switch in the cylinder area thing. And yep. And you are going to put the foam tape underneath there, right?
Foam tape's already in.
Oh, there you go. 2 steps ahead. You're so fast. I want you to notice all of this tube. The reason we needed to do this was because these are supposed to connect together, but they are offset from each other. And we want to make sure there's no kinking or anything, so we just made long loops, long gradual loops. This one needs to go down here at the bottom.
So it's going to go something to this effect.
Yep, exactly. So it looks a little weird, kind of like some things intestines.
Mad scientists putting ships together.
Yeah. So we're getting this all figured out and routing cables and getting stuff done and making progressives. Things are looking really good with this contraption. Let's turn our radio on here and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Throttle not idle. Failsafe not
Give it a little swipe here. Toot, toot, toot. So quiescent 0.04 amps. Nothing. So let's see here. Let's do one thing at a time here. So we got our dive planes, and I've got these set at 50%. They'll have way more travel. Just don't worry about it. So stern planes only, right? Now I can extend the forward planes. Man, those were good. And now when I do my planes, they work in concert with each other, opposite each other. So we'll get some really, really good response to pitch input. We got rudder. And the way I got the throttle set up, I got them on individual sliders on the side and also on this. So for differential, you can use these side pots, and they will control each motor individually, so you can do your stationary spins and whatever you want. Or if you just want flank speed without having to worry about this stuff back here, you just throttleize it with the stick. And it looks like this. These work a lot better, by the way, with a fully charged battery. So we got that going on, and I showed you the retracts. Let's go ahead and suck those back in so I don't forget. And then I've also got the bow thruster. That thing moves. Now, when I first kicked it on, it was not happy. It was like, and it was pulling about 7 amps. But what happened, I just kicked it on and I let it run, and I could just watch that amp draw going down, 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 down. So it was bound up in there, but it seems to have worked itself out now. It's about 3 amps at full tilt. Both together, the stern is 4 amps. So that's looking really good. I think everything is functional now. Obviously, no periscopes. We don't have that in the system here right now. I need to work on some dive plane-age. I have no ballast. Not dive planes. I have no ballast. The lights are all on, but I got to pull up the instructions and make sure I'm wiring this correctly. It's not doing anything. Don't like it. I'm good. We have done good work. The other thing, I got to make sure we plug up this thing and then figure out what this whole situation. It's plugged off. I think Jason was right. I think initially this guy wanted to have this ballast tank the other way around, and he put that tube in to run the thing. It's actually a good idea because you got the room, and then you don't need to worry about a big shaft going in. Same thing on the other side. And you would, I guess, in theory, be able to do the same thing back here. You got lots of room. That would be something I would consider doing if I were to build a boat like this. But I just got to figure out the ballast system. That's it. It's another just. This Virginia is coming along really good. We got all the linkages done. Let's take a look. So we've got rudder moving in the same or the right direction. We've got our forward planes. Nice throw there. We've got our ballast system. We did have ballast system. Apparently it's non-functional right now. That's good. Excellent. No problem. And throttle. That thing is gonna scream. That's ridiculous. It moves a lot of air.
Yeah, I'm 2.5 feet away from it, and I can feel it blowing in my face.
So now I got to figure out why the ballast system isn't working. It might have come unplugged from in here. And I noticed on the, you see how the linkage for the dive planes is loose? Logan took a stab at fixing that, and I guess he never finished it up. But we'll do that right now. So with us putting a new radio in this bad boy, we've got that F16X56942 to sell. If anybody's looking for one, let's take a look at it. So this is the Roby Futaba FC16 boat and truck with the receiver and the decoder and a full set of instructions. What do you know? I think the last one we sold that wasn't the FC16, it was just the normal F16. It went for like $380. I'll take $350 for this. If anybody's looking, buy it now so I don't have to list it. Please, that would be awesome. Let me know. Hit me up. Bob@nautilusdrydocks.com. Email me. Don't drop it in the comments, for heaven's sakes. First come, first serve, no rain checks, blah, blah, blah. Well, we are wrapping up here for the day, people. We built a new battery pack is what we did. And it's over here. For Typhoon, by the way. I know we're jumping around on a lot of different boats. 7.2 volt nickel metal hydride twin 4.2 amp battery packs in parallel for 8.4 amps of total power. But we fabricated a little joiner wire majigger, and we went into the stock Dean's connector that was in the boat. But when we connected it, it was intermittent. I don't like Dean's connectors. I used to use them all the time, but I had a couple melt on me and lots of connection issues. So we've gone to XT60s, and now we've got single out going to dual in. So you could run off of one battery, you can run off of two batteries, you could use a different battery for testing, whatever you want. And got a nice compact battery pack that fits perfectly in the little recess in the boat. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this on charger. We'll get that thing charged up so that it's nice and ready for us on Monday. Virginia is all ready for ballast weights on Monday. The Balao is ready for wet testing whenever our weather smartens up a little bit. And I just need to figure out the ballast situation here. Fortunately, it came with all the wiring and instructions and stuff like that. It says T-Max 2. I got a T-Max. Hopefully it's not that much different. We're sitting well.
This cut for...
We did get that cut.
For this guy.
Yeah, we just didn't make it much further than that. But this is looking really good as well. And Monday, Jason and I resolved to at least get ready to finalize the design of the 200 series cylinders. And once that's done, we'll order all of the stock and start putting them together, making them happen. Am I forgetting anything?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Yeah. We're going to let you go then. If you like what you see, do like and subscribe. It helps us out at the Dry Docks here a lot. Drop your comments below. You can email me anytime, bob@nautilusdrydocks.com. With that, you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you next time.